Riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am your host, Garrett Harvey. With me, as always, Egon to my Vankman, co-host extraordinaire, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how are you doing?
Pretty good. We had a good week. I had a good week.
You had a good week. What are we talking about this week?
This week, we listened to Blake Shelton's 2016 album, If I'm Honest, which I think, as most of our audience will know, came out the exact same day as the Angry Birds movie, and that is somehow not a coincidence.
Yep, that's right. Lover of all things animated and bird-related, Blake Shelton, released May 20th, 2016. We're talking about If I'm Honest. Tim, let's not waste another moment. Do you hate this album?
Yes, with the exception of one song, I hate this.
Wow. It's been a while since we've heard such a firm yes at the start, so I'm certainly interested to get into the nitty-gritty of it. But before we do, I think we've got a few other things we've got to cover. Care to ask the question?
Garrett, did you hate this album?
You ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
I did not.
Wow.
Yep.
Huh.
Controversial.
That is controversial.
Tim, I'm going to take a very mature stance this week. Now, our listeners have probably come to expect a certain level of seriousness and professionalism from me, and I want to assure them that this week will be no different. This album is not for me. It was never meant for me. I do not like country music. I do not like country pop, and I do not like pop music. This is at best all three and almost certainly just pop music. It's not for me. I don't want it. I don't like it. I don't understand it. It might as well be just a man screaming into a microphone for 15 tracks.
I agree.
But I don't know that that entitles me to hate it.
We'll get you there.
Yeah. I wish you put it any other way.
I can't.
Well, I know. So we'll see if you do, in fact, get me there. But before we do that, let me ask you, is this your first time to stand in the shadow of your savior, Blake Shelton?
As far as I know, I don't think I've ever heard any one of this guy's songs before.
Same thing here. Aside from listening to his music, what was your cultural awareness of B. Shelton?
Well, again, I did know that he was recently crowned Sexiest Man on Earth, and I know
It does seem odd that that's your touch point, but continue.
Yeah, and I know that he is on The Voice, and is married, obviously, to last week's Gwen Stefani.
That's right. This is an unofficial doubleheader, and I'm glad we did it this way, Tim, because I feel as though there's some very strong connections between that album and this one. Avid listeners of the show will remember last week we did in fact do Gwen Stefani, Monkey, Baby, Uncle, Teabag, I think is the name of the album.
Yes, you nailed it.
To me, this almost feels like a spiritual answer to that.
I cannot agree with that.
Well, hey, you know what? To use the parlance of our time, I'm going to get you there. So, you knew he was Sexiest Man Alive. You knew he hosted The Voice. Do you know what The Voice is aside from a singing competition on NBC? Can you explain it to me? Because one of the things I uncovered, and we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that's okay. He has among the most wins. So do celebrities go on the show and win money? What's happening on the show?
No, I believe what's happening is a certain number of judges. Adam Levine is one of the other ones, and then Gwen Stefani, I believe, was one. Essentially, what happens is basically the American Idol contestants, they have several of them organized into teams. Each one of the judges trains their team.
Okay.
And then those teams compete. But I don't really understand how it works beyond. Like, I don't know how somebody gets voted
each
off
judge is assigned a team, or perhaps even selects their team.
More like coaches.
Okay. This is starting to clarify for me. So they spend some time working with them, training them, and then the contestants fight one another? Is that...
Yes. They fight to the death. I guess that's how they get voted off.
And that makes sense, too, because Blake Shelton's a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
So I would imagine he knows how to throw that weight around, so he's probably really good at training those contestants. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you for clearing that up. Fighting competition based on singing merits to create teams trained by professional singers who then win large sums of money, I assume.
I don't know if there's money. It might just be your freedom. They win their freedom.
Sort of a Hunger Games situation.
Yes.
That makes sense. Okay, well, I don't want to dwell on The Voice too much longer. Let's talk about the soil from which Mr. Shelton has emerged. His history, his beginnings. Born in 1976, Mr. Shelton was a resident of Ada, Oklahoma, son to Dorothy, a beauty salon owner, and Richard, a used car salesman. And let me just stop right there. I'm right now on board. Country music star, born in Oklahoma, to a hairdresser and a used car salesman. Absolutely.
Okay, at what point does he become the sexiest? Was he the sexiest baby? Was it like a high school thing?
I think that in order to call anything sexy,
it cannot be a baby?
First and foremost.
Okay.
Babies are not sexy, and you know this. I think I see what you're saying. If a competition were held to determine of these 25 babies, which one's the sexiest, would he have won? Is that all you're saying?
No.
Oh,
I'm saying that he is currently the sexiest man in the world. When did he start being the sexiest? Did somebody die that was previously the sexiest?
No. The sexiest man alive is crowned each year, and it is very rare that they win more than once, though I do think it happens. I do want to place some context around this competition, though, as Nick Nolte once won.
Oh.
Right.
He was definitely not a sexy baby. I've seen those baby pictures, Garrett. He looks like he does Tim, now as a baby.
He looks like somebody found a drunkard homeless man, cleaned him up, and then put him in a movie.
I believe that's what happened.
I was about to say, kind of because they did. But any competition of sexiness in which you put Nick Nolte as the winner is questionable in my mind. Then again, of the two of us, I am not the expert on sexy men, so I do defer to you. So back to your original question, at what point did he become the sexiest? I think it's only in the year in which he was claimed the sexiest.
Okay.
Graduates high school and moves to Nashville to be a singer immediately. Gets a job at a publishing house instead.
He is one of these people that begins very early on, singing and playing guitar.
Oh, absolutely.
6 or 7, he performed in pageants, and the internet refused to elaborate on what those consisted of.
Yes, he used to be entered in ladies' beauty pageants as a small boy to give him the opportunity to practice his singing. Can't imagine how that would possibly screw up a young man. Moving right along, graduates high school and immediately moves to Nashville. Wants to be a singer, gets a job at a song publishing house, which is probably an excellent place for a singer to work. Get to understand how the business works, particularly someone who's going to eventually go on to become a pop singer, which I can't call him anything else but. Then in 97, he meets his longtime producer, Bobby Braddock. Helps him get a contract with Sony, but nothing really comes of it. So then he signs again with Giant Records in 2000, somewhere in there, and he wants to release I Want to Talk About Me. But the Suits, Tim, you remember the Suits from our Rage Against the Machine episode?
Yes.
The Suits say, no, that is not a hit single. So instead they give it to Trace Adkins, who immediately rises to number 1.
I thought it was Tobin's, or Tobathy.
Oh, was it Toby Keith?
Tobathy, yeah.
Tobias?
I think so. Doesn't matter.
I'm sure you're right, because they are all interchangeable to me. So instead, he releases Austin, which also has number 1 hits on it somehow. Giant closes its doors almost immediately after in 2001, and his contract is bought up by Warner Music. And they begin to print money from this point forward. I don't know that you want me to go album by album, but then he proceeds to release 8 more albums after that initial one before we get to this one. Is there anything significant in there you want to talk about?
He released an album on average every 1.5 years for the next 16, 17 years, and he released an early greatest hits album in 2010 that, interestingly, features exactly 0 co-writing credits on any song by Mr. Shelton.
And that doesn't really surprise me. He's not much of a songwriter, as we will find out, but he is one hell of a song singer. Moving right along, he releases 8 albums, and people fucking love these albums. The number of hit singles off these albums alone, back when you could still make a shit ton of money, even just off of that. I haven't seen numbers like that since we've been doing this. But now I want to go back and I want to take a look a little bit at his personal life before we get to this album. Because in 2003, he married his first wife, K-Net. Now, Tim, have you ever met a K-Net?
No, but it sounds perfect for country music.
Absolutely. I assume he had her change her name from like Katie or Catherine.
Lurleen Lumpkin.
Right, in order to maintain his facade. But sadly, they did in fact divorce in 2006, strangely 6 months after he met Miranda Lambert. What a weird coincidence. Then he gets married in 2011 to Miranda Lambert and becomes kind of country's Jay-Z and Beyonce. Everybody's enthralled with this match made in heaven, these country singer superstars who seem to know how to make it work and have it all. That is, of course, until he meets Gwen Stefani. Then, very similar to what happened to poor K-Net, shortly after meeting Miss Stefani, they file for divorce. 6 months later, he is publicly banging Gwen Stefani.
Yes.
Not in public, but publicly acknowledging the banging.
Right.
And good for him. I want to say, once again, I'm on this guy's side. Not musically, of course, but I can get behind banging Gwen Stefani. How about you?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
Okay, I skipped over something very interesting. I don't know if you noticed this, that he was inducted into the Oklahoma Hall of Fame in 2014, before this album came out. Did you know there was an Oklahoma Hall of Fame?
No, but now I have a new life goal.
Well, let me tell you about some of the other folks in the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. Of course, we all remember Sylvan Goldman as the inventor of the shopping cart. Mm-hmm. He is in there, and also famed General Tommy Franks. Now, if you don't remember Tommy Franks, just a couple of key things. He was there around that whole weapons of mass destruction misunderstanding we had back in 2002. You probably don't even remember it. Not important. But he is also very notably remembered as the gentleman that charged a charity $100,000 to use his name to raise money. And then that charity later had charges pressed against it because only 25% of the money they collected actually went to any veterans. So
Because most of it went to him.
Right.
Technically,
They had to pay to use that name.
that money went to a veteran, though.
Touche, Tim. So then that kind of brings us up to 2016.
This guy seems to be doing everything he can to not have to make music anymore, because he starts doing a series of competition shows. The Voice is not his first singing competition show.
What?
Yeah, he started out with something called Nashville Star, and then Clash of the Choirs before The Voice.
What could possibly be the reward for winning Clash of the Choirs?
School trip to
You'll be-
D.C.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, you still have to ride on a school bus, but you get to go to D.C.
You're going to see the Capitol, the Washington Monument. I'm sorry the White House is closed.
He is, I think, the most winning judge, which doesn't make any goddamn sense as a sentence.
Yeah, 6 wins, I think.
6 wins for Blake Shelton. Well done.
And yet he still continues.
Yeah, and actually,
What, do they recapture him?
What?
If he's winning his freedom.
No, he's not winning his freedom. His
teammates are.
right. He is locked in. He can't go anywhere. But yeah,
Probably why he started dating Gwen Stefani.
Could be, yeah. Guess the newest season has just ended by the time we're recording this, but we should mention that it will return for its 15th season in September 2018 as part of a great weekday lineup on NBC. That's NBC's The Voice. Close your eyes and open your ears.
God damn it, dude. Okay, I have to ask, and I know I've asked you off air, but I gotta know. Are you getting paid by NBC?
No. But anyway, go Team Blake. Fuck you, Adam Levine. You're trash. You know you're trash. And your team is trash. Go ahead.
Somebody's a little sore that they didn't get a headshot back from their fan letter.
Oh, I got a headshot.
Oh.
He's a very nice man. He's just trash.
I do want to touch on something else, and I'm going to tread very lightly here. It's been implied that Mr. Shelton may or may not be a bit of a parrot head.
Yes, he definitely is. I'm not going to tread lightly. This man enjoys...
Tim, you're going to get us sued. You're going to get you sued. The views and opinions expressed by Timothy Richardson do not represent the show Why I Hate This Album. Just saying.
Or NBC or any of its subsidiaries. I legally have to say that.
Again, are you already getting paid by NBC? We split the money.
They sponsored me individually.
Fine. I'm going to sign that Crystal Light deal. That's right. Crystal Light. Cool, refreshing, and now caffeine-free. As I was saying, allegedly, Mr. Shelton's a bit of a parrot head, and I want to point to the massive amount of evidence to that end. Many of his songs, tweets, comments, public appearances, and photographs feature him drinking, talking about drinking, thinking about drinking, having been drinking, or recovering from last night's drinking.
Yes.
However, In Touch magazine found that you do in fact need to tread a little lightly and perhaps could have used our euphemism, bit of a parrot head, because they were in fact sued for millions of dollars and lost to Mr. Shelton after they implied that he had hit rock bottom and was headed to rehab.
So he sued them because he had not yet hit rock bottom?
Correct.
His lawsuit was, I can go lower.
I think they also implied he peed on a mailbox. It's not really important.
Okay.
The point is that everyone on this podcast is using the word allegedly. Please don't sue us, Mr. Shelton. We have so little. I mean, although he could get some more of that NBC money.
NBC does not think that you are a parrot head. I don't think
But
that.
Tim does.
In Touch magazine thinks that. Thought that before you sued them and made them stop saying it.
That's true. It's funny because I assumed that it was just typical tabloid trash until I started really doing the research, got the info back from our new interns here on the show, and it is compelling evidence. The number of photos I saw with that guy surreptitiously holding a solo cup, it's just ever present.
And there's nothing wrong with that. He can drink as much as he wants.
Absolutely.
No problem with that.
Probably shouldn't sue people for millions of dollars for finding out, but hey, I'm not a successful pop singer, so what do I know? Before we talk about general thoughts here, is there anything I left out?
No, I don't think so. I'm only going to add that I came up with a few Blake Shelton fun facts that I'm going to throw in, unlike you, where they are applicable, not all willy-nilly like an asshole.
I've got some Blake Shelton fun facts.
Oh, god damn it.
Time for the first Blake Shelton fun fact. Blake Shelton, often credited for having silky smooth and luscious locks, once revealed that he uses a mixture of eggs and ketchup once a week to keep that hair shiny and smooth. This has been a Blake Shelton fun fact brought to you by Crystal Light. So you've got some fun facts that you clearly don't know how to use properly. I also have some fun facts which I will use to torture you throughout the episode.
Fair enough.
Okay, Tim, you hate this album. You want to tell me in 25 words or less why?
No.
I'm counting.
I'm not.
24.
I'm not.
20.
I am not subjecting myself to your word counts.
Go ahead.
I just have a fundamental question for you.
9.
What would make a great country album or song?
What do you mean?
Well, if you want to make a good country record, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do the serious singer-songwriter folk thing, Townes Van Zandt, that kind of thing.
Yes. I think this is important, and I'm glad you brought it up. I feel like a lot of the listeners might think that we just hate country music. There are ways to have great country music. Yeah, I would even argue that despite all of the times that it isn't, Willie Nelson has great country music.
Sure.
It can be done. We're not picking on country music. So go ahead.
You could also go like a bluegrass route and just kind of jam out. The other thing you can do is to treat the genre and its cliches as a joke and do sort of a Boy Named Sue kind of thing.
Okay.
But
yeah,
what
kind of turn it on its head.
Sure. But what he does on this album, he just refuses to step away from the exact center. He does this generic pop. Sometimes it's maybe R&B a little bit.
There's definitely at least one R&B song on here.
And then he just has occasional pedal steel or a country accent, just enough to check the box and say, this is country.
I didn't do something that I should have done. I'm letting our listeners down, so maybe you can help us out here. Have you heard him speak?
I don't think so.
I love that you and I have done hours of research and never once have you or I heard him ever speak.
No.
That shouldn't be possible. But the reason I ask is, does he have an accent?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. I would imagine that he has somewhat of an accent. He seems to never have left the Oklahoma to Nashville.
Makes sense. To your point, there are many ways in which this can be done well. Mr. Shelton chose instead to have lyrics clearly written by a robot. I mean, you can't rule out that at least for half these songs, a computer was fed a series of keywords and several different classic country songs.
Oh yeah,
and then
cold beer, John Deere tractors, go.
Sitting in the cornfield. It's very odd. Definitely playing to the bass. And what is confusing to me, Tim, is that this has opened him up into mainstream appeal. There's nothing about it that's I guess, okay, that's why. There's nothing about it that's unique or compelling.
You remember the mid-90s? You go to your local Sam Goody, and there's only 2 good songs on it.
Sure.
Okay, he's done something on this. There's the fun country song. There's the songs about drinking, songs about relationships, songs about Jesus, songs for children. It seems like it was designed to be a CD in which everyone that bought it is just like, oh, there's 2 good songs on that. But it's depending on who you are, it's a different 2 songs. If you're a child, you're like, oh, I like these 2 songs. If you're a parrot head, it's these 2, etc.
If you love Jesus, it's that last one.
Yes. On this album, he has 3 co-writing credits. So I don't even really understand what this album is supposed to be, because it clearly sounds like a fuck you to his last wife and him triumphantly moving on, but he wrote none of this, so I don't understand what it's supposed to be.
Well, it would be kind of like if I was having an argument breaking up with a girl, but then you kind of Cyrano de Bergerac your way into it, and I just had headphones in the whole time, and you told me all the mean things to say.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh, I hate you so much. Is that true? Do you really not know what that is? What?
No. Cyrano de Bergerac? How am I supposed to know what that is?
Okay, so there's 2 gentlemen. Both of them are pining for a young lady. One man has the words to do it, but has a hideous face. The other one has no words to do it, but is a charming gentleman. Or a Blake Shelton, if you will, in the looks department. And so Cyrano is hiding in the bushes, telling the young prince the words to cast up to his lady love. Never heard of this?
I've heard of this, I just don't know the name.
Oh, okay. Well, then I've wasted a ton of time here.
Yes.
Side note, if you want the Cliff's Notes and to have a good laugh, rent the 80s hit Roxanne, starring Steve Martin wearing a giant prosthetic nose, serving the role as Cyrano. It's very odd.
Yeah, I'll watch this. I like Steve Martin.
Getting back to the album, though. I said I don't hate it, so you hate it. That's easy. That's an easy stance to take. I think that, 1, obviously it's not for me. 2, I just don't think I understand this style of music. I'm not going to remember any of these songs when we're done. Maybe one. But
the good one? The really, really good one?
I have a feeling I know which one you're talking about. Anyway, I cannot connect to this music at all. So it seems flippant to me to say that I hate it. I don't enjoy it. Actually, you know what? This will sum it up perfectly. I don't think I hate this album. However, I have hated this week more than any other week we've done.
Okay, so you hate this album more than any other album we've done.
Yeah.
Not only does he only have 3 co-writing credits on this album, did you happen to check out the list of people, the contributors to this?
Oh, I didn't even consider the idea that he knows how to play an instrument.
His uncle taught him to play guitar when he was 12.
Oh, that's right. I knew that.
He doesn't play guitar. He doesn't do anything. The only credit he has on this album is lead vocals.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's sort of a boy band equivalent, I think, with an accent.
He's country's Michael Bublé. No, you know what, Mr. Bublé? I apologize. He is country's... I'm going to get this, Tim. Is there a popular band that you can think of where the lead singer broke off and then became a successful solo artist with much more mediocre music? Don't say Gwen Stefani. Wait a minute. Is he country's Gwen Stefani?
Yeah.
God damn it.
But
Yeah,
was he ever in a band?
Not my point. My point is that this style of music feels like that, where you have somebody who, for all intent and purposes, is a talented person, and maybe in a different configuration with somebody around to harness that talent, something great could have happened. But instead is just, chasing that paycheck.
Sure.
All right, Tim, let's head into that song by song. What do you say? Track number 1, Straight Outta Cold Beer.
Boys, daddies, girls, children of the cornfield, trying to turn a shift.
And we should note that cold beer has to be said as one word. Cold beer, cold beer. I really enjoyed the opening music on this until you get his voice. So there was like a 6-second period.
Interesting. I hated it.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was really stupid.
Yeah, all right.
There was this hilarious thing going on in the late 90s where people were covering hip-hop songs as country songs, and it sounded like that to me.
I enjoyed it. Pleasant surprise for 6 seconds.
Okay, that's fair, because you probably weren't expecting that, because it doesn't in any way sound like a country music album.
Yes, exactly. The first opening lines here, just a bunch of poor boys, daddy's girls, children of the corn. I really wanted this to be a Stephen King reference.
Yeah, it's not.
No, but think about how good of an album this would have been if, he's just singing beer drinking country songs, and slowly, subtly, the audience realizes that something isn't quite right with a few of the local town folk. Maybe there's something sinister going on in the background.
I assumed, as everyone who could possibly have heard this song ever did, that it just was a Stephen King reference. But the more I listen to the song, it definitely isn't, which makes me wonder, has he never heard of the phrase children of the corn? Also, conversely, is this a common phrase in country parlance?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think anyone in a rural area has ever referred to himself or any of his kin as children of the corn. This is a thinly veiled beer commercial, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like this should be playing over a bunch of people out at a party, or maybe there's a fire on a beach and they've got that trough of Bud Light.
It would be Bud Light.
Yeah.
Do they still make Bud Ice?
I don't know.
What about Bud Dry?
Oh, definitely. Bud Dry's still around. Bud Dry's still great.
Gross. Let's play a little Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Is this A, rap, B, country, C, country pop, or D, pop music?
It's kind of all.
All of the above.
Yeah, there's the beer commercial aspect to it, and kind of a little bit of it comes off almost as a threat. We're in the middle of nowhere, ain't nobody leaving here till I'm at a cold beer. His beer drinking, his alcohol consumption is a threat. In this song. Not in life, not in real life, but in this song.
The character of Blake Shelton and his behavior is that of an alcoholic.
Sure.
In this song.
A lot of this also comes off just insincere.
It's country music for dummies.
Right, trying to turn a shift job into a dollar bill. We wear them muddy boots, stay true to how we raised.
Okay, so I'm going to defend Blake Shelton here a little bit. I did read some commentary he provided about this song, and it is supposed to be more a reference to his high school days. And from that perspective, it actually does line up. As a gentleman that grew up in Texas, going out into the middle of a field and drinking yourself blind before driving home is a long-standing pastime.
So in the interview, he said this reflects his high school days.
Okay, I didn't imply that it reflected mine, though it does.
He has nothing to do with the writing of this song. It might. That's the thing about all of these songs.
He's Bergeracing again, my friend.
There's also the line, got them shined up pickup trucks whistling at them honeys. Now, we won't ask the question yet, but this is my first indication that Lena Dunham might not approve of this album.
You know what? I didn't even catch that. Yeah. Tim, I'm so proud of you. When I met you, I feel as though you were firmly within the grips of toxic masculinity.
I was, absolutely. I have grown.
Your misogynism was through the roof.
Yes.
but
It was in your face.
It was in your face. It was in your face. It was edgy. You were like a young Poochie. I want to say, over the last several months, you've really rededicated yourself. Dare I say, you might be one of the strongest voices for feminism in modern America.
Thank you. I will take that mantle.
Be sure to update your LinkedIn profile.
I will.
Anything else you want to say about this ridiculous song?
A couple other things, just musically.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that, right?
The 80s style guitar solo that closes the song out is super out of place.
It is, however, I will refer our listeners back to the Troil episode.
Yes.
And if you don't know who Troil is, guys, you got to listen week to week. This is all interconnected. Anyway.
We're like The Wire.
We're exactly like The Wire. We're exactly like The Wire. In that, you've got to hear week to week or you're going to be completely lost. But, you know what? I totally forgot what we're talking about.
80s style guitar solo.
Right. So, I proffered in that episode that there was a great schism in the early 90s where half of hair metal went to alternative rock and followed that path, and the other half moved into the country side of the house. This guy filled in the hole, much as his current lady filled in the hole left by an aging Madonna. This guy picks up where Troil leaves off.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Tim. Based on that theory, who's the better musician, Troil or Blake?
Troil.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I believe at least Troil is playing an instrument for some of it.
And I would pay a hefty sum of money to see Blake Shelton put on a wig and a soul patch and a whole heap and amount of mascara and try to pull that off.
Oh, man.
Dude, I would pay money for that.
Somebody should suggest that.
All right, we'll put a feeler out. Maybe a friend of the show can put us in contact with him.
I'll
Are you still in contact with Adam Levine? I know you guys had some shared court documents.
I'm not, but I can talk to the advertising people over at NBC.
Oh, okay. Again, how do you have such firm connections with the advertising people at NBC?
All I'm saying is that they have a great Thursday night lineup. Sure, they lost The Office, they lost Community, no more Parks and Recreation, but they're coming back. They're coming back strong.
Can you name another show on NBC besides The Voice?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Nope, that's on Fox.
Oh.
Have you ever even seen that show?
Look, you're screwing up something here. I watch NBC.
Care to tell me what?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, sorry.
The only other thing that I will say about this, he loves to do this echoing vocal effect.
And when you say he, of course, you mean the people around.
Right, the production team.
The puppet master.
Right.
Did you ever see Being John Malkovich?
Yes.
Is there a chance that Blake Shelton is an incredibly intricate marionette?
No.
Oh. Well, is there a chance that he is an even more elaborate Muppet?
No, he's a person.
Are you sure?
Yes. He's not a Chris Gaines.
But Chris Gaines is at least played by a person. I guess so was Kermit, so never mind.
Song number 2, She's Got a Way with Words.
After all that second guessing, it's been a long, hard history.
I looked up and I got some official history on this song.
Okay.
This angry and sarcastic song features Blake Shelton singing with venom about a bad relationship breakdown. Shelton didn't write the tune. Many wondered if this was a grenade aimed at his ex. This song does absolutely seem kind of grossly calculated.
Well, don't they all?
Yes. Again, it's not written by him. But
no.
I think he specifically selected this song as a fuck you.
It's very cut and dry. It is overt as if he had just spelled out Miranda Lambert.
Yes.
Which brings me to one of my first points. What the fuck is it with the albums we pick and people's spelling? There is one song in the history of the world that is 100% okay to spell in. Do you know what that song is, Tim?
Yeah, the Banana Song.
I'm sorry. There are 2 songs in the history of the world in which singing is okay. Do you know what the other is?
The D, the E, the F, the I, the A, then the C, the E.
You're fired. You are fired from the show. It is, of course, by the Village People, YMCA.
Oh, fair enough.
It's an acronym. There's no way to say it. Yimka? It's fun to stay at the Yimka? That doesn't fit.
She put the her in hurt. She put the why in tried. She put the SOB in sober.
Anybody listening to this song, at least, would have the impression that Miss Lambert cheated on him.
Yes, and more so with another line that's little words like I and do, lying, cheating, screwed.
Okay, so lying, cheating, and you screwed me over. I'm not buying it. I think this parrot head has a serial history of cheating on his ladies. She was all well and good when he was cheating on, what was her name?
Catania.
Catania. Now, that's a character from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I don't remember her name.
Lurleen. When he was cheating on Lurleen, it was all fun and games. Everybody loves Miranda Lambert. But then when he starts banging Gwen Stefani and she's not cool with it, suddenly she's the bitch.
Again, Blake, all of this is hypothetical. These are not accusations. This is alleged.
I'm talking about the story in the music. I'm not talking about real events, of course.
Yes.
But thank you for clarifying. And I want to let him know, you're on watch, sir. Lena Dunham is listening, and she is not pleased. So as you said, many people write his songs that aren't him. Mm-hmm. Did you happen to notice one of the names of the authors of this song?
Andy Albert. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're thinking of Wyatt Earp. I did not notice that. Famed 1800s cowboy Wyatt Earp.
Here's the really weird part, Tim. I dug hard. I think that's who he's referencing. I think he's giving credit to Wyatt Earp.
That can't be right. Country music is very strange, right? As far as I can tell...
Modern country music.
Modern country music, yes. As far as I can tell, in Nashville, there's roving gangs of songwriters. They write songs, they record these songs in full for the sole purpose of shopping them to famous people who will then record their own version. I don't understand why they wouldn't just try and release them on their own. They're songwriters. They can presumably sing and play instruments well enough to woo the likes of Blake Shelton. Why wouldn't you make a go of it for yourself?
Comes down to star power. Some people are just unwilling to soak their heads in ketchup and eggs.
Allegedly.
No, that he admitted to.
Oh.
No one was sued for that. If there's one thing that I can say without any fear of reprisal from him or what I assume is a massive team of lawyers, is that man covers his head in ketchup and eggs.
The results speak for themselves, though.
Honestly, one of the very first things I noticed when looking at Blake Shelton is that his hair looks dumb.
Oh, yes.
This was the first single by Blake Shelton since I'll Hold On in 2009 that did not end with a number one hit for him, breaking a 17 consecutive song record.
So that's impressive, but are these...
That's crazy impressive.
I don't think these are number ones on the Billboard 100.
No.
Okay.
Country music. Yes. Based on the structure of how this album is put together, doesn't it just kind of seem like Blake Shelton's an afterthought? I think this whole thing could have been shopped around start to finish, minus that weird Jesus-y song at the end that kind of contradicts everything else he's said and done. If this was a Kelly Clarkson album, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
No.
Maybe not the cold beer stuff, but
I mean, maybe. I don't see why
maybe
not.
Maybe she likes to put him down.
Yeah, maybe she likes to keep people hostage in a cornfield until she's done drinking.
Every one of you are going to watch me finish this 30-pack of Keystones. All right, track number 3, Bet You Still Think of Me.
Bet you still think about me.
The shitty, Biebery, Ed Sheeran-y arrogance. She must really miss me because I am so great.
Now, I will say he does make an effort to balance it out every third or fourth verse by saying, because I still think of her. Something I noticed on this song for sure 100% has auto-tune on it.
Yes, he does.
And honestly, I don't think he needs it.
No.
I think he's using it like Cher used it. Like it's an effect that he wants in the song.
Yeah, he's really Chris rocking.
Kid rocking.
Yes, he's really kid rocking. I bet you still think about me. I still think about you. I think about you even when I don't want to. Such a personal song must have been written by the man of the week, right?
No.
Nope.
It was written by a man with a made-up name, Park Chisholm.
And Mark Irwin, don't leave him out.
Of course, but at least he's real. Nobody is named Park Chisholm, like the trail.
There's also the lines, are you driving up the coast? Are you wearing any shoes? Did you outrun all your ghosts? Now, relevant Blake Shelton fun fact. According to an interview, Mr. Shelton hates bare feet, and he finds even flip-flops totally unacceptable.
What?
Yeah, hates bare feet. Doesn't like the human foot.
Sounds like somebody may have been abused by a pair of feet as a child.
This song has 8 lines spread across 2 verses. There's 2 verses of 4 lines apiece, and then there are 27 lines of either pre-chorus or chorus just repeated over and over again. He's demanding to make sure that somebody is wearing shoes so he doesn't have to see their gross toes.
Interesting. If I ever meet him, that guy's going to meet my feet.
Hashtag meet these feet. Please tweet that at Blake Shelton.
Normally I say leave these people alone. They don't deserve our ire. Start sending this guy pictures of your feet. That's fucking hysterical. And also send Tim pictures of your feet.
Yes.
For a different reason.
No. I have a problem, and that will not help my recovery. Do not send me feet pictures. Nothing good can
come
come
of a trigger for you?
Yeah. I'm going to be back in Arizona at rehab.
Weirdest episode of intervention ever. Hey, Tim. We care about you. These people want to let you know you've got to give up feet.
Song number 4. Every time I hear that song.
We were crazy, then we were old.
How in the world is this considered a country song?
I called it Country Train.
I think it's just not country. There's nothing.
I thought you were saying I think it's just Train.
Kinda. You know how a lot of people have an album or a song and they're just like, oh man, this is so perfect. It seems like they were singing about me. That's how Blake Shelton feels about his own music. Because he didn't write any of this.
All of these songs are just as new to him as they are to you and I. And this, of course, is from the crack team of Mayo, Warren, and Lindsay.
And Wyatt Earp a little bit.
He helped defend that OK Corral, and then he wrote a series of beautiful and touching love songs and one scathing song about an ex.
But not his
That ex was Doc Holliday.
Want to move on?
God, yes.
Okay, number 5, Came Here to Forget.
Keep playing them songs, keep singing along, keep leaning in.
This is not country music. We start off with drum machines and this weird looped backing track. The production...
Yeah, some sort of synth is being played at the opening to this song.
Right. This is why I know he plays no instruments, because this is the one that inspired me to look up all the credited instruments on this album. And it's bizarre. There is programming of sick beats,
Of course. As you find in most great country music.
Right, yes. There's trumpet, there's trombone, there's saxophone, viola, there's violin, there's cello, there's synthesizer, keyboards.
Yeah, that's the synth. Classic country.
Yeah. Apparently, he's going to bang somebody new, he's going to make his ex feel bad about it, and he's going to write a song to rub their nose in it.
I mean, that is almost this entire album.
Yes.
I miss you, I hate you, I am now banging this chick, and that's awesome.
Yeah, so ladies, he may be objectively and inarguably the sexiest man on this planet, at least for this year, or maybe last year. He might not be anymore.
Incredibly avid about that, but continue.
He's kind of an immature asshole who is to be avoided.
It seems that way.
Yeah. Gwen.
Don't know him personally.
Gwen.
But
we love your music. You deserve
absolutely.
better.
Get out of there.
You don't have to stay. The rest haven't.
Yeah, you wrote Bananas. You're better than this.
I definitely was in a gas station this morning and heard somebody playing Hollaback Girl. God damn it. It was all I could do to not scream along with it.
Oh, you should have. That's how you make friends.
Yeah. I love the lyric, that first kiss was like a Colorado hit. I have very few Genius annotations for this, but the Genius annotation here is, Blake is saying here that the first kiss is what he wants all of them to be like. Just like when you first start smoking marijuana. I too like kisses that are similar to smoking pot. Coughing into each other's mouths. Sexy.
Just to further blow your mind, this was his 22nd number one hit single and the 17th consecutive hit single of his career.
This is not a good song.
It's really not. He routinely mentions to continue salting that rim. Is this some sort of anal reference?
I don't think so. I'm gonna shut you down right now. It's not. It
okay, because I didn't.
A margarita. You did. Don't say you didn't.
I thought maybe salting the rim was like a sex thing.
It's not.
That's all I'm saying.
You
don't know. You don't know. You don't even know how intercourse works.
That's not true. I don't.
Oh, yeah? Those cartoons you sent me are wildly inaccurate.
Here's the problem. It's a flip book. You gotta get them all in order. Maybe you didn't have them in order.
My point is those things don't go in those places. That is not what anyone calls intercourse.
Okay, well, no one's salting any rims.
Okay.
The lyrics of this song are very deep and they're obscure. These are some heady topics.
So, you know me, I'm not great with metaphors. It's not customary to continually salt your rim, though.
I'm not a huge margarita drinker,
yeah,
but I feel like I would always want the rim as salty as possible.
That's the difference between you and me. You like a salty rim.
See, I feel...
You heard it.
You know, now that you say... Okay.
Yeah, you're coming onto my side.
Yeah.
This song was written by a 16-year-old woman, right? I mean, it wasn't written by him.
No.
Actually, it was written by two men, Derek Rutan and Craig Wiseman. Craig, we've never met a good one. Audience, prove us wrong. Is there a good Craig out there we're not thinking of? Let us know. hatepodmail@gmail.com.
I would like to say to all of our subscribers, I, Tim Richardson, don't necessarily subscribe to the all Craigs are bad Craigs.
I'm not saying they're bad Craigs. I'm just saying I've yet to meet a good one. No one is saying there can't be. We're just asking to meet one.
All right, song 6.
Every Goodbye.
Blocks down from the liquor store, got a love seat and a couple DVDs we can.
This is the exact same song as the last song.
Yes.
It's more of we're at a bar, you know, bang, so I can be happy. But again, not Blake Shelton, because didn't write this.
Also, what does he have to not be happy about? The guy makes like $28 million a year.
Yeah, he should be very happy.
Yeah, and bangs Gwen Stefani.
It's pretty clear we're both here to get over somebody. I could kill that pain you've been in. You can be my heartbreak medicine.
Seems like a euphemism for a rebound. What do you think the over-under is on their relationship long-term? How many more years do they have?
Oh, well, I've already started referring to it in the past tense. I said their relationship lasted from 2015 to present, but...
That's a very smart idea, because people are going to not necessarily hear this episode when it's released, and there's a very good chance that they are no longer together by the time this comes out. In fact, I would bet quite a bit on it.
Song 7, It Ain't Easy.
This is arguably the worst R&B song ever written.
Absolutely. It's confusing, because that was the first thing that I wrote down about this, too. It's R&B.
Inescapable.
It's sort of a song about how he doesn't like leaving his lady during the day. The lines in here are, I hate kissing you goodbye. It ain't easy leaving my baby in bed.
This is a classic song 7 of the album.
Yeah.
It is assumed that anyone who starts at the beginning will never make it this far, and anyone else is only going to listen to the 2 songs that pertain to him, whether they be a Christian evangelical or a poorly educated R&B fan, or possibly somebody that's just hoping to hear weird dirt on Miranda Lambert. Or likes rap music but doesn't like black people, rapping, or talent.
Yeah. Song 8, A Guy with a Girl.
Sometimes I'm the guy with the boys kicking it back.
So this song is really stupid, and I hate to be so glib about it, but the reason I put it that way is because it was written by Ashley Gorley and Brian Simpson. Ashley Gorley has written to date 32 #1 singles.
Whoa.
That man is a hit machine.
It's a man.
Men can be named Ashley.
I guess his troubling middle school days led him to become a person who has written 32 #1 singles.
Yeah, he's got a lot to work through, Tim.
Yes.
We hear more Troil-style, late 80s big guitar in this song.
Yep. Whenever I was listening to this, I thought traditional love songs tend to focus on how you love a person, right?
Yeah, this is a cuckold's anthem.
It is. It's a song about how he's really happy that everyone else finds his lady to be attractive.
Yeah, he's hanging out with his gal, and everybody's approaching them, talking to him, really wanting to talk to her, and he is into it.
Yeah. It could be that he likes the fact that all his buddies are jealous, maybe.
I mean, I know that I get pretty aroused the more I know that my friends are aroused by the woman that I love, right? You know what? We like to tell jokes here on the Why I Hate This Album podcast, but I want to just take a moment and apologize for what I just said, because that's super gross.
He's so confused as to how this beautiful woman could be with a guy like him, wondering how I ever got your little hand in mine, which kind of sounds creepy, but we'll let it go.
Yeah, what an odd way to... now, okay, in his defense, that I didn't check his dimensions, but I did take him in with my eyes. This is a big dude.
Yes, and Gwen Stefani, fun fact, tiny hands. Proportionately too small for her body.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's visible. Do you think it's visibly apparent? I think it's really more just scientifically.
Yeah, I mean, if you measure, it's like some sort of inverse Marfan syndrome. Also, the guy that don't know how he got her. Both of these lines, he's painting this picture of this guy who doesn't understand why this beautiful woman would be with him. I'm the guy that don't know how he got her. Well,
I think also just convenience. They're sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
And both of them stopped banging their... well, it's tough to say whether or not Blake Shelton had, in fact, stopped banging Miranda Lambert, but he had definitely made his intentions clear that he'd like to bang Gwen Stefani, and she had just broken up with Gavin Rossdale, so why not? He was just around.
I like it that this podcast is turning into, like, don't bother reading the tabloids, we got it all for you. Again, he claims to be a farmer, a working farmer, in this song.
He does, but it's not nearly as egregious as what's to come.
No.
Yeah, this whole song is, if taken in the wrong context, a passive-aggressive anthem about being jealous of his hot lady.
Yes, or
as I put it earlier, a cuckold's anthem. I haven't met him, so I don't know. But you can always know a cuckold when you meet him. And I want to be clear to our right-wing listeners, I am not referring to the classic modern cuck. This has nothing to do with politics. I don't want to hear it. Anything else you want to say about a guy with a girl?
No.
Moving right along then, track number 9, Go Ahead and Break My Heart, featuring Gwen Stefani.
There you are again on my phone.
It's taken 9 songs, but we finally have a song that Blake Shelton had something to do with.
Do you think they banged to this album?
We'll get into that later.
Okay. Okay. It's weird that you had an answer ready, but feel it's not appropriate to share at this time.
Yeah, they definitely have sex to both of their music, but we'll get into it later.
I read a number of reviews of this song that compliment how these two sound together. Guys, if you haven't listened to this album, and I don't recommend that you do, go ahead and listen to Go Ahead and Break My Heart just once, or even half of it, because they just repeat themselves over and over. It doesn't work.
No.
It sounds super weird. It's not the worst duet I've ever heard.
What's the worst duet you've ever heard?
What's that one DMX did where he sang for part of it with Aaliyah, maybe? Yeah, that probably means nothing to you. I might have the lady part wrong, so forgive me, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
A duet featuring DMX is the worst duet you've ever heard.
Yes.
Okay.
DMX, please don't sing. So let me take you through my interpretation of this song and how incredibly confusing it was to me until I learned how the song was written. And it's worth noting, this is the only song written by Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani and no one else. So this is them. This is raw Sheltfani. We do need a couple name for them, don't we? Blake Shelton, Gwen Stefani.
Gwelton.
What about...
Gwelton. Gwelton.
What about...
Acknowledge me. I know you can hear me.
I can. I cannot. How about Glake Stefani? Glake Stefani.
Let's go, instead of that, with Gwelton.
So Gwelton...
Yes!
This song is the only one written by Gwelton. And in it, first Shelton sings at Lambert about how mad he is at Lambert, his ex. Then Stefani sings at Shelton about how excited she is about Shelton. Then they both sing at their exes. And then I think they might sing at each other.
I feel like it's just easier to make a sex tape and mail it to your respective exes, right?
I'd watch that.
No.
Strictly for
scientific purposes, but that's not what we're talking about. Are you talking about
course.
with one of your exes doing this to you?
No, gross. Ugh.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Gwelton.
Right, but they're not going to be sending it to you. They're going to be sending
don't
it
know that.
specifically to Miranda Lambert and
Unless
Gavin
I'm an
Rossdale.
ex of one of them.
Yeah, you're not. You've never
No, I'm
dated
not.
the sexiest man in the world. Fuck you.
I wouldn't call it dating.
Gross. Also, allegedly, do not sue us.
Yeah, please don't sue us, Gwelton. Written to impress Stefani, it's an odd way to woo a lady. To send her a song you recorded in the voice memo app of your iPhone about how much you don't like your ex-wife.
Yeah.
But then she sends back the finished version of the song with her side of it, thus creating a really bad duet. I have to imagine the placement of number 9. Now, I'm no math genius, right, Tim?
You're not.
Okay. Sounded.
No, I'm just confirming. I am agreeing with you. Go ahead. You're no math genius. Song number 9.
You and I say genius different. You just really, you hit that I hard. You say genius.
Yeah.
I say genius.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
We're different
Anyway,
people.
I do want to point that out. So we've gotten some mail. This is not one man doing two slightly different voices. We are different people.
Yes.
What I started to say, I am not a math genius, but the placement of this song at track number 9 feels very strategically placed as not too close to the back and not too close to the front. I think this song is designed to never be heard. I'm sure there's some very heated emails regarding the inclusion of this song in this album. I can't imagine the Suits were on board. This completely fucks up the whole thing. It doesn't make any sense, not to mention they seem to be pretty against him writing his own music.
True.
And I have to say I agree.
For another little Blake Shelton fun fact here, the last duet, I believe, that he did before this was with Miranda Lambert. Do you know what the subject of that song was?
I would imagine his ex-girlfriend.
Nope. His
Or wife.
brother dying in a car wreck.
Well, that's decidedly less sexy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a really big complaint with this song. Coming fresh off of a week with Miss Stefani, I have certain expectations from a Gwelton song. Where are the Harajuku girls, Tim?
I don't know. I assume they came to live with them in Blake's house, right?
Oh my god, this just in. So I've uncovered some information regarding the Harajuku girls. You are correct. They did in fact move in. However, Gwen went out on tour and Blake forgot to feed and walk them.
Oh my god.
I know. It turns out in 2018, you can't just import a bunch of Asian girls to come live in your home and follow you around at all times. Truly, it is a different time.
So they're just dead in a cage, is what you're saying.
Listen, I haven't been in their home, which I'm sure is lovely. It
That
may
cage
or
has
may
to
not.
smell so bad.
But seriously, where are the Harajuku girls? I was so disappointed. I have come to expect if you get Gwen Stefani, you get 4 Asian girls singing about how much they love Gwen Stefani. Do you think Shelton said that was just a no-go?
I don't know. I miss them,
I think
though.
it's a missed opportunity.
Yes, definitely.
We can agree
Maybe
on that.
this is new in their relationship. Maybe she hadn't told Blake that
Yeah, it
she
is
comes
often-
with 4 strange Japanese women that will just stare silently at you.
It is not uncommon for people to hold back specific details about their lives when they begin dating somebody in order to not scare them away. You have that weird toe thing.
And you have those 4 Asian women that you enslaved.
I have all of the proper paperwork for them. We've been over this, Tim. I appreciate their culture and their style, and I celebrate it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Are they allowed to leave?
They're allowed to leave as soon as they figure out how to get out.
Okay. Constructed some sort of...
Just a hedge maze.
Okay.
Simple hedge maze.
Fair enough.
With a tiger in it.
Anyway, yeah, I agree. If she's going to be on this album, she better bring the insanity.
Right. And instead, she acquiesces to him. And as a Gwen Stefani fan, and of course by fan, I mean somebody that only learned about her music last week, I have come to expect her to be that driving, dominant, feminine voice. And instead, once again, and we're getting dangerously close to having to answer the question, Tim, you know that. Instead, she is fitting into traditional, submissive female gender roles. And it makes me sick.
On that note, we can go to the best song in this album. Song number 10, Friends, from the Angry Birds movie.
Boots just couldn't walk another mile. And that cloud above
Let me begin by saying this. I love this song.
I hate you.
It's great. It has messages about friendship, despite having differences, sticking together, standing up for what's right, standing against cartoon pigs. It's great. There's nothing to not like about this song. In fact, you even get some mouth harp, or as you like to say, Jews harp.
I don't.
Is Jews harp offensive?
I assume.
I don't know.
Yeah, I really
Well,
don't
first of all, it's just keyboards in a mouth harp setting.
Right. Nobody's
But,
actually sitting there with a mouth harp.
Yeah. I don't know. For the record, I didn't mean for it to be offensive. I meant I just.
Well, then
I'm
why
just
did you say
talking-
that I like to say it?
I'm just
Seems
talking.
like you knew that it might be offensive and thought that you would cast that upon my character.
I just meant that it is an instrument that is often associated with the Jewish people, like the banks.
Is it? Oh, God damn it.
In any case,
So-
it doesn't matter. I'm in. This song is great.
I often, maybe all too often on this show, say that this sounds like a song from a montage in an animated film. Well, I'm happy to say in this case, that's precisely what we're dealing with.
This is what
Which
this
is-
guy should be doing 100% of the time.
I'm not quite as on board as you, but that's okay. What I will say is, first of all, it's odd that he would choose to include it on this album when it was also on the Angry Birds soundtrack and written explicitly for that soundtrack. It's just weird. He thinks it's so good it needs to appear on 2 albums, which you seem to agree with. I don't. This album begins with a song celebrating getting blackout drunk in a field.
While holding your friend's hostage, yes.
May or may not be allowed to leave. We don't know.
This is what classifies this album as also for children.
I want to point out the chorus of this song, and I didn't write it down, but that should be okay. If you'll listen to it, is it supposed to be a ripoff of Cotton Eye Joe?
Who
Where
cares?
did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
You like
I
to rock,
literally
I
just
like to
finished your
roll,
song
you
with
take
mine.
the high and I'll take the low.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
Tim, do you realize the hypocrisy in what you're saying right now?
Listen, all I can say is that I love this song. They could have stolen this song from me. Doesn't matter. I still love this song. It's a great performance. It's a great song. I'm sure it fits well within a movie. Probably not the Angry Birds movie. It seems wasted on that. I was picturing a montage of stuff we've done. You know, go rock climbing.
now I understand
There's a
what's
little
happening here.
kayaking.
This is all too clear now. God damn it. Dude, how many songs do you listen to and think about me?
I think it's just you can't put it in the right context because you hated that Angry Birds movie so much when you saw it in theaters.
I didn't. You mentioned that this is your new I Can Tell That We Are Going to Be Friends by the White Stripes.
Yes.
And of course you're saying that because there is a blatant ripoff in this song of I Can Tell That We Are Going to Be Friends.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me ask you a completely unrelated question, Tim.
Okay.
What is your opinion of the film Angry Birds?
I don't know. Don't have one. I've never seen it. I assume it's bad.
All of this enthusiasm is strictly for this song.
Yes.
Is it in any way a reflection of your feelings about our friendship?
That's not uninvolved. But I think the song speaks for itself.
What the fuck does that mean?
It's a good song.
All right, we're going around in circles. Let me read you a quote about this song. It took us about a week to write the song. And when we went in and demoed it and sent it to John Cohen, he just flipped out. He put it in the movie and it became one of my favorite songs on the record. So I decided not only is it going to be on that soundtrack, but I want it for my own album too. So his opinion is that his song on the Angry Birds soundtrack is one of his favorite songs.
On the Angry Birds soundtrack.
Correct.
Okay.
What's wrong with him? Which one do you like, Blake? I really like the one I did.
Well,
Okay.
I like the idea that he has so little to do with his own songs that he was just honestly trying to pick the song that he was just like, yeah, no, that sounds like a song I would have written. But Blake, buddy. That's the one you contributed.
Yeah, maybe lay off the solo cups.
Allegedly.
Anything else you want to say about this stupid song, you weirdo?
I would watch the Angry Birds movie to get to this song.
You know, the longer I know you, the more I think I have you figured out. And then something comes along, and I am just completely dumbfounded by what it is that makes you even tick.
I can't explain exactly what I like about this song. It's just the heart wants what it wants, and my heart wants this song.
You once said the exact same thing about a chicken fried steak that fell on the floor. And how did that work out for you?
I got dysentery.
You sure did, friend.
I don't think this
I'm just
song
saying.
is going to give me dysentery.
Well, we'll see.
Song 11, One Night Girl.
Sunrise, slipping through the trees, it looks so
Another
pretty.
Ashley Gorley original, written with someone named Dallas Davidson, continuing the trend of stupid names. Mr. Gorley, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Wyatt Earp and somebody named Chisholm.
Let me address Blake directly here. I suspect he's a listener. Buddy, you have to understand that sometimes a one-night stand is just a one-night stand. Sometimes, and I know romantic comedies make it seem like the lady always wants you to call the next day and start a relationship. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes the best thing is to let it go and not make a big thing about it.
I can see how that would be your interpretation, but Tim, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you what went through my mind as I listened to this song. As our listeners know, we did Miss Gwen Stefani last week, correct?
Yes.
And on that album was a little song known as Bubble Pop Electric. I submit to you that this song is a direct answer to Miss Gwen Stefani and the lyrics of Bubble Pop Electric, if I may. And she writes, "Tonight I'm gonna give you all my love in the backseat. Bubble Pop Electric, Bubble Pop Electric. Gonna speed it up and slow it down in the backseat. Bubble Pop Electric. Uh-oh, in the backseat." Of course we can all agree that she's gonna fuck some dude in the backseat, right?
Yes.
Cool. I believe the lyrics of this song are a direct answer to that song. If I may, a dramatic reading. When I picked you up, knew it wouldn't be enough. Couldn't fit it in one night. Shoulda told you then. Soon as you got it in, I'd be taking my sweet time. Whatever you like, girl. Ain't a way I can love you the way I want to in just one night, girl. This man cannot get it done in just one night. To handle all of Mr. Shelton, it takes a little more than one evening. I feel like I've left you speechless.
I think this is a direct response to Bubble Pop Electric.
She is asking for it in the backseat, and he is firmly telling her, no, young lady, you're about to ride the Shelton roller coaster. That thing is a 2-day ride minimum.
I mean, gross, but yeah.
Well, it's not for you and I to decide what is and isn't gross, Tim. It is simply to analyze these songs, and I tell you, the only thing I could take from it is that this song is about how Blake Shelton's gonna bang her in the backseat of a car
But not just
for longer than a day.
Right.
Well, it could be just the one time, but the way he does it, it's going to be a bit of an investment.
This
All
is
I'm
you
saying
start at
is-
11:55 p.m., so technically at the end of it...
No. There's
I always
there's no
count those
trickeration.
as two sexual experiences.
Right. And when you say count, what does that mean exactly? Is there some sort of journal or log you're keeping?
There is an Excel spreadsheet that I keep on my work computer.
Oh, that's a great place to keep it.
Right on the desktop.
Don't worry, it is entitled S Encounters. They'll never figure it out. So after the Cuckold Anthem is an anthem for his buck wild fuck style, if I will.
No.
Isn't that usually how you say that?
It's not how I've ever said it, no. I will say, so he is labeling this girl as not a one-night kind of girl. He's telling her, no, it's not just the once. This is going to continue.
yeah.
Right.
Yes,
and I don't
yes.
think Lena Dunham she would definitely not approve of insisting on labeling somebody as not a one-night kind of a girl. That is her choice, not yours, Blake. Not yours.
Well, okay, so now I think you might be placing some of your own opinions in here, so let me clarify. He could be saying that I'm not interested in a one-night stand, Tim. I am interested in a long-term relationship.
But maybe she's not.
Well, I don't think he's demanding as much as he's saying that I'm open to it.
Oh.
I'm just merely...
Blake's a good man, isn't he?
Oh, boy, you just switch on a dime. You're just looking for a reason to cozy up to this feet-heating psycho. Tim, can we go any further without answering this question? Does Lena Dunham approve of this album? What do you think?
I don't think so. I think there's
I think you're right.
I think there's a lot of revenge sex being had.
That sex is angry.
Yes. More than angry, it's vengeful.
It is vengeful.
Anyway, he treats women as a way to get over other women. I don't think Lena Dunham would be okay with this.
No, women are not to be used like a 30-pack of Keystones to cause an irrational blackout in a cornfield and help you forget your problems. That's not what women are. Women are mothers, sisters, sometimes brothers if they choose. Depends on how they identify. That's not for me to say. But yeah, I think I'm 100% with you. I don't want to get off topic. I do not think Lena Dunham approves. I don't know what it is precisely, but something about Shelton really makes me feel there's an aggressiveness to this, isn't there?
It's the threat of the aggressiveness. It's an implication, if you will.
You're right.
It's nothing overt, nothing you can go to the cops about, certainly.
And that's sometimes the most insidious kind of violence.
It's always the most insidious kind. It's almost the definition of insidious.
Fair enough. Lena Dunham does not approve. Miss Dunham, if we've gotten it wrong, please, as always, give one of us a call. We'll straighten this out immediately.
That takes us to number 12, Doing It to Country Songs, featuring the Oak Ridge Boys.
I fell down a really weird rabbit hole with this song.
Okay.
Specifically with the Oak Ridge Boys. So are you at all familiar with them?
No,
So I knew a couple of their songs from radio, but my research told me that the Oak Ridge Boys were founded in 1945 as the Oak Ridge Quartet. Then I watched video of the Oak Ridge Boys performing at the 2012 RNC. Are the Oak Ridge Boys time travelers?
Maybe they're vampires. You're saying they're still young.
Well, they're not young. They're not dead.
Okay.
In their defense, I do think there have been a couple of swaps over the years, but there are at least some founding members, and as I mentioned, they weren't dead. So I was thinking time travel, but I think you're right. Let's go with the far more reasonable vampire. Okay. At least two of the members of the Oak Ridge Boys are definitely vampires.
Right. They feed off of the bodies and souls of normal human beings.
Correct.
Okay. On this song, Mr. Shelton starts off kind of talking about how he likes to listen to country music when he goes to work, which, as far as I know, is something he doesn't actually do.
Well, I mean, if you can call appearing on television work.
Not really. Dancing with his lady to country songs. And then he starts harmonizing, and it sort of devolves into this, harmonizing is the wrong word, but you get the smooth, silky tones of the Oak Ridge Boys just repeating over and over again. She likes doing it to country songs. She likes doing it to country songs. Yep, doing it to country songs. I love doing it to country songs. Garrett, I have to ask you a question.
Sure.
And I try not to ask you too many. Really, I try not to ask you any personal questions on this show because God knows you're going to tell us and it's going to depress me. I'm going to stay up at night worrying about you. Anyway, the point is, when you, let's say, make love.
Can we say do it?
No. When you make love, do you listen to music? Have you ever listened to music?
I have, yes.
Okay. It's not really for me. But,
ironically, despite what people on the internet may think, we love music, and I find it quite distracting.
The times that you have made love while listening to music.
Can we call it making whoopee?
Yes, okay, sure. The times that you have made love whoopee while listening to music.
That's not what I said.
Has it ever been country music?
No.
Okay, and that makes sense to me. Who would the country equivalent of sort of a Barry White be? Willie Nelson? The deep, rich tones of Willie Nelson?
I think the closest you can probably come is Johnny Cash.
Okay.
Ooh, Burning Ring of Fire. Back to that backseat. It is not a seductive genre.
Yes. I assume he's listening to his own music, as you alluded to earlier.
Undoubtedly.
Okay.
He is either listening to his music. Well, no, I guess if it's country, it's always his music.
Yeah.
It's never hers.
Well, yeah, because that was the other thing I thought. Maybe they switch off. Maybe half the time they're listening to the beer song that we started out with, and the other half it's Bubble Pop Electric.
Perhaps it's a scenario where Doing It to Country is played in order to maintain. Perhaps he suffers from premature premature ejaculation.
Okay.
And by listening to a man sing about John Deere tractors and corn allows him to maintain an erection longer.
It's
and then
his,
after he
thinking
has
about,
thoroughly
baseball.
pleasured someone, sure. Then they switch to Bubble Pop Electric and finish this bad boy off. And I want to be much more tactful than you were. So give me a moment to properly phrase this. When you're getting your fuck on, do you listen to country music?
I've never listened to any music, ever.
Never once.
Nope. I like silence.
Silence and unbroken eye contact.
That's right. That's my thing.
All I want to hear is the sounds of two bodies slapping together.
No, but seriously, I do not
Erotic.
I do not care for music. I have enough trouble maintaining a constant tempo on my own.
I did not think that sentence ended with the word tempo.
It's better than you thought, though, right?
Well, it's less honest.
On a positive note, at least this sounds like sort of a honky-tonkish country song.
That's actually very true, and I want to credit the Oak Ridge Boys for that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They are talented country musicians, or folk, depending on how you want to put it. I've been thrown wildly off by your questions, but I do have a few things I'd like to talk about as well. First of all, I liked this song much better when it was called Cripple Creek and performed by the band. How no one is getting sued for this it's super subtle, but if you play them back to back, it's weirdly similar. Second, I couldn't help but laugh every single time I heard the line, "We rub them belt buckles together till they shine like chrome." And here's why. In my mind, so to each their own, Tim, I am certainly not here to tell you how to get your fuck on.
Making love whoopee, go on.
Right. I'm not even here to tell you what to call it. However, I kept picturing Blake Shelton and fill in the blank, Miranda Gwen Stefani Lambert, Kay Lurleen, stripping down completely nude, only to put belts with shiny buckles back on.
I'd watch that.
Ugh. I mean, I would too.
Yeah.
I just want to understand what part of it's so arousing. It's still the genitals. Track number 13, Green.
People used to call me backwards, living out here with the tractors.
This is one of several songs on this album that is so good that it appears on 2 of his albums. This at first appeared on 2008's Startin' Fires, and I don't know if this is a re-recording or if it's a different version in some way.
Just a straight copy-paste?
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be.
I actually do think it is. Did you find an explanation as to why he did this?
No, but this is not the only song. There's another one coming up that has the exact same situation.
I didn't even notice. That's crazy. I found this song to be a little insulting.
I did too.
Not necessarily to me, but to actual farmers or even just country folk. I feel like he is trying to cash in on his roots that he is no longer connected to.
Yeah, I did some research into this guy's lifestyle. I have to call bullshit on this.
Yeah, he seems to have been actively moving away from all things country as soon as possible.
Right. But the lyrics of this song, people used to call me backward, living out here with the tractors, letting this world leave me behind. I've got a John Deere in my barn. I've got a garden in my yard full of corn, peas, and beans. I've got a homegrown girl that I love. Couple of things about this. One, his job is judging people's singing ability on television, so that's not true.
Right.
I also read up on his houses. I did some People magazine and InStyle research to
I mocked you when you got those subscriptions,
Yeah,
but good call, dude.
Paying off. So he legitimately has a lot of land, as you would expect for somebody that's very wealthy. He's got this 400 plus acre property near Nashville with a lakes, horses, etc. He's got a 1,200 acre ranch with a Hawaiian style lake house. But as far as I can tell, there's no farming going on. In one of the pictures, there did seem to be an unused tractor sitting around, but this guy has never in his life been a farmer.
And that could easily just be a stunt tractor.
Yes, definitely. His homegrown girl is Gwen Stefani, famous pop singer from Los Angeles. Basically the same thing as small town Oklahoma.
A woman known for idolizing a small group of Japanese women in Japan who made themselves famous by taking different aspects of other people's mainstream culture and applying it to their own.
Hometown girl. Let me do another lyric here. I haven't subjected you to very many genius lyrics. I was green before green was a thing, and I know a lot more about cane pole fishing than I ever will about carbon emission, and my little corner of the world is doing just fine.
Well, that pretty much encapsulates the problem with America today.
Absolutely.
First of all, he is flouting his ignorance.
Yes.
Not saying that it's made up, literally saying, I don't know about that, so therefore it's not real.
Yep.
And everything I can see with my uneducated eyes looks fine, so it must all be bullshit.
Yeah.
I read one genius annotation that actually made me laugh.
He also claims in this song where he admits he knows nothing about carbon emission, he definitely says, I'm a man ahead of my times.
You just got done saying that you were ignorant of modern day science.
Yes. Which technically, in his defense, is ahead of his time, because that's where we're headed.
That's true. Idiocracy. Look it up. Let's move it along. Track number 14, You Can't Make This Up.
People say I'm lying if I try to tell.
This song absolutely infuriated me.
I found it to be a dark and cryptic tale of a stalker who finally moves in on his prey.
Let's get to...
Can I take you through my analysis of this song? Okay. So I'm going to read a lot of lyrics here, but I'm going to try to break it up so that it's not monotonous. You waiting on somebody and they never did show. You were pissed off leaving, came back because you forgot your phone. Pretty innocuous. I've left my phone many places, and then you got to go back and get it. I would argue, however, that Mr. Shelton took her phone surreptitiously while she was not looking, and then put it back on the bar after she walked out, okay? That seems a little far-fetched till we keep going. There I was. Yeah, I just sat down in the seat you left. Okay, how convenient, you're right there. Well, she knowingly will come back to get the phone that you stole. Then I walked you out to your car. It wouldn't start because you left on your lights. Well, in today's modern day, automatic lights are very uncommon to be left on. So I suggest that perhaps he has broken into this car prior to stealing the phone and turning on her lights.
Okay.
Still a little far-fetched, maybe. Then you come to find out that your house was just a block from mine. Uh-oh.
Yep.
Somebody had prior knowledge of this person's routines.
Yep.
You can't make up a night like this. Emphatically announcing repeatedly how wacky all these coincidences are really only the hallmark of somebody trying to convince another person that they didn't orchestrate this entire situation.
I did not catch any of that. But whenever you get to the fact that
It's
they're
chilling.
neighbors, at that point, I would
had to
go in my
rewind.
house, lock the doors, and maybe dial 911 and just hover over that phone.
I just picture a man nervously laughing as a woman who's a little tipsy starts to put it all together.
You turn back to him whenever he knows you've figured it out, and he's not smiling anymore.
No, I don't think we'll be leaving.
So I don't think Blake Shelton understands this song. I agree with you. That's probably what this song is about. It's probably about a person that is stalking and then attempting to
Abducting
date
a woman.
And whenever she doesn't go along with it, things happen.
Yep. Lena Dunham does not approve of this album. I can
Definitely
say
not.
it for certain.
Yes. But I don't think Blake Shelton knows that. I think, and again, this is alleged, no reason to sue, Rodney Clawson, Zach Crowell, Ashley Gorley. One of those people is a serial killer. Don't know which one?
Yeah. Sadly, my money would be on Gorley, only because I could see a lot of emotional trauma coming from a childhood in which you had to introduce yourself as Ashley as a boy. Not that I think there's anything wrong with it, but children can be so mean.
Children are
I was one of those mean children.
Yes.
If you know any of these people and you feel that they do have suspicious behavior, please do write in hatepodmail@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter, album hatepod. Instagram, what is it, Tim?
At HatePod.
Great. Hit us up. And of course, the secondary purpose of all of these episodes is to help identify potential predators in America. So
Yeah. So if you don't write into us, write into the police. If you have a tip,
just present them with this song and any other evidence you have, or if you don't have any, this should be enough. And I don't know which one. I'm not casting dispersions on any of them. If anything, I'm casting dispersions on all of them.
oh man, what if it is all three? They're all in this together. Song 15?
Savior's Shadow.
And standing in my Savior's shadow.
This song is a repeat from his 2012 Christmas album.
Is it really?
Yeah. So stay tuned for Christmas. We might be doing this Christmas album. So you know me. I love an acoustic song to end an album. You've got like the Beatles, Her Majesty, Mosquito Song on Queens of the Stone Age, Song for the Deaf. Lots of White Stripes out. I was excited. This is not good.
No. And I've got a really weird sounds like for you.
Okay.
And you may not hear it. I can only hear it. This song sounds like Ode to Joy. I am wholly willing to admit it could just be me, and it's not the entire song. It's only when he's standing in my Savior's shadow. Something,
He is watching
ode
over
to joy.
me.
He does something on this song that really pissed me off. As you know, and as I've said on the show, I enjoy anytime I get an overtly religious song that mentions God. In my mind, I like to replace that with the devil.
Right.
Or Satan, Beelzebub, whatever you prefer. Just makes me giggle, and it's a lot easier to get through the stupid tripe. However, in this one, he specifically calls out Jesus and the devil. So it just doesn't work for me.
It does. You can switch them.
Yeah, that's disingenuous.
Though
how the game is played.
Jesus tried to break me, sweet Satan won't forsake me.
Back on board. But I'm glad you brought that lyric up. Though the devil tried to break me, my sweet Jesus won't forsake me.
Powerful stuff.
Is all of humanity nothing more than chess pieces being moved around on a giant game board between the devil and Jesus?
Most of humanity. But we're mostly pawns. You see, Blake Shelton is one of those... He's at least...
Is a queen.
Well...
He can move in all directions.
He's at least...
A rook?
Yeah. I can't say. I don't have access to the full
Jesus.
overview. Yeah. I do not have access to Jesus. That guy has
You do have a
asked me-
direct hotline to Satan.
Yes.
You could ask him.
It's weird to think that Satan is making plans for what to do with Blake Shelton's life, something that will really stick in that Jesus's craw. Is it craw? Caw?
It's craw.
Craw. Stick in his craw.
It is an odd place to begin. Much like it's strange to me that Jesus always wants the guy who wins the Super Bowl to win.
Yeah, well, he really hedges his bets.
That's true. He wants both to win.
Yeah.
And he knows that can't happen.
Well, in all honesty, though, Garrett, Jesus wants us all to win. He's rooting for each and every one of us. Well...
Yeah, he won't forsake me, from what I've heard.
Satan won't
My
forsake
point
you.
is that this lyric implies that we have absolutely zero control over our lives, and that why would anyone find solace in that? I find it incredibly
I can
depressing.
answer that question completely, Garrett.
Oh, okay.
If you don't have any control over your life, if it's just a cosmic chessboard,
Okay.
nothing you do is your fault. You remember how guilty you felt after you got away with torching that school bus full of nuns?
Oh, yeah, I didn't sleep for days.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. That was either
That was the
Jesus
devil?
or the devil, one of the two. That was their move.
That feels like a Satan move. Tim, I gotta say, I know this is a comedy podcast, but that was aggressive. Bus full of nuns. Did you know the song was written based on a dream he had?
No, but what a boring dream.
Well, when asked about the specifics, he said he couldn't remember, but he immediately recorded part of this song into his phone.
Ugh.
Yeah, everything about this guy is off-putting. From his cuckoldiness, I'm just not on board.
to his maybe stalking and murdering women, to his love of Jesus. Yeah. It all adds
we can
up.
firmly say he is not stalking and murdering women. I want to be real clear there. Don't dilute the facts. So, Tim, that's the content. I know how you feel about it. I know how I feel about it. How did the American people feel?
This is our first sub-million seller that we've ever talked about.
This dude's won 9 CMAs. He's won 5 Academy of Country Music Awards and 7 CMT Awards. But more importantly, he has sold 10 million albums worldwide, and this just blows my mind. 30 million singles. What the fuck are people doing with singles?
I assume it's digital singles, right?
Not all.
This debuted at number 1 on Billboard country charts, at number 3 on the Billboard Top 200.
Which doesn't really happen.
Yeah, it didn't beat Drake, it didn't beat Ariana Grande, but it was better than everything else, apparently.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. It's the highest charting country singer since Troy Brooks, ironically as Chris Gaines debuted at number 13 on the Hot 100.
In 2016, it sold just over 500,000 copies, but it was the 11th best-selling album that year.
So I think we can at least say it did well. Whether or not it was like a smash success like a Troy, maybe not. But it did well, right?
Yeah, and plus he's got all that game show money coming in.
Oh yeah, I would imagine he makes the least amount of money off of making music.
Probably.
As it should probably be the case.
Makes a lot of money off of seducing wealthy women and divorcing them.
Yeah, alright, so it did well. Let's hear from the professionals. What is the consensus?
Critically, Metacritic gives this a 58 out of 100, so 58%.
Ouch.
I think that's probably about right.
I think that's a pretty accurate reflection. I'd give it close to a 50. Honestly, that doesn't really matter because I want to know what the people think.
The Amazon ratings, 552 reviews. This week I did read all of them, and I also went to Metacritic and read a few of their reviews. So I read a lot of reviews this week. 91% are 4 to 5 stars. There's 3% 1 star, but those are almost exclusively it didn't arrive on time or the CD skipped. Everyone loved this album.
What?
Yeah, all people. But I have 2 reviews from Amazon. I'll tell you, one's good, one's bad. The first one is a review by Tank's mom.
Tank's mom.
Yeah, you know Tank?
Uh-huh.
It's his mom.
Oh, okay.
Her title is Love It. Got this on the day it was released. I waited on my front porch for the UPS guy to deliver it. Sitting there, I heard Blake Shelton singing in the distance, and he kept getting louder and louder. Apparently, the UPS guy is a Blake Shelton fan also. He got his CD before I did and was blasting it from the UPS truck. Love it. Now, I need to add here that I live in a very rural area, so he was not disturbing anybody. We don't even get the mail delivered here. As far as the music, come on, it's Blake Shelton, for heaven's sake. It's a given. Question.
Yes.
She lives in such a rural area that the mail does not get delivered there. Is the UPS man, is it a ghost?
Yes.
Okay.
But seriously, I don't think there's a part of our country that doesn't get mail. What's the date on this review?
2016.
Why in the fuck is she having CDs mailed to her?
She's an old person. This is Tank's mom we're talking about.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. It's not Tank, it's his mom.
Yeah. Next review. This one is entitled Far From Honest. It's written by Jimmy. This is in all caps, so just know that. I'm not going to scream this entire review, but that was how Jimmy intended it.
Okay.
I would move out of Oklahoma or run Blake out on a rail. What a hypocrite. 1 minute singing all about his beer guzzling and openly drinking on The Voice, not to mention the fact that he left one wife for Miranda, left Miranda for a married woman with kids, got her pregnant, and has blatantly flaunted it in the country fans' faces. And then he sings a sacred song like Save Your Shadow to try to pretend he's a believer. Well, the Lord is trying to tell you something, Blake. God don't like ugly. You can't hide from God. Get right with the man. Then sing gospel songs. You can't straddle the fence, and you and Gwen really can't carry a tune in a syrup bucket. Flat and pitiful. You really need to suck it up, Buttercup. Learn how to be a man and live with yourself first. Then look for that person that compliments you and completes you. You will never do any better than Miranda. Weren't you running around with her while you were married? Flirting blatantly with Dolly Wanna Be Gwen on The Voice while you were married? Seriously, grow up. And then he gives it 3 stars.
Wait.
Yeah.
What?
However, this is not the end of the conversation because Amazon lets you comment.
Sure.
So Amazon customer replied, "We are all sinners, yourself included. Don't judge him because you sin differently." And then Jimmy comes back. Yes. We all sin and fall short of the glory of God. The difference is I get on my knees every day and night and ask my Lord to forgive me. And I don't keep doing what I ask God to forgive me for. Take your own advice. I'm not perfect, just forgiven. And then he decided that's not enough. I have to reply to this guy again. So he has a second reply saying, "I am trying to raise decent children in a time when the world is coined straight to the devil." I think he meant to say going straight to the devil. Small editor's note.
But he also...
"My children seeing such fornication, such nudity, and my God doesn't make mistakes."
Wow. Never in my life have I ever been so on board and then so not on board with Jimmy.
It's the weirdest thing, because I agree with almost all of his comments here.
Yeah, minus the super Jesus-y parts in the beginning. He's got it.
Well, even that, what he's saying
that's
essentially
true.
is that if you're singing the religious songs, it doesn't make sense to have the rest of it in there. It's a little hypocritical, and that's fair. Jimmy is right. He's crazy.
Jimmy is right.
Jimmy is a fucking lunatic who believes that there to be nudity on this album somehow. I don't know what that means.
And fornication. Oh, wait, there was in fact fornication.
Yeah, he's banging lots of people in this album, but he's not showing you any of them. It's
no,
audio.
because it's music.
Right?
Wow, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy's
right into the show.
Yeah, please. If Jimmy.
albumheypod@gmail.com or go to the website hatepod.com, hit contact. Let us know, Jimmy, what do you think fornication is? Tim, I have to ask, before we get into final thoughts, who is this for?
There's a song on it for most people.
Yeah, I was going to say the answer is everyone.
Yeah, I think it's specifically designed. Yeah, and I would have said me too, but then I heard Friends got to song number 10.
Shelton got you too.
Yep.
Yes, this album is for everyone but me. My 9th grade birthday all over again.
Is there anything that you would recommend instead of this?
Google country greats from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Just Google that.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you'll be in great shape.
There's also a fair amount of newish indie folk bands like the Lumineers.
There's a modern day kind of folk, I wouldn't necessarily call it country.
No.
But kind of a bluegrass situation that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, final thoughts, Tim. Let me start. Sometimes I worry that I am losing my ability to relate to the common man. And I don't mean that in any socioeconomic way. I just literally mean the average Joe.
Yes, you feel like a king. Go on.
That's not what I was saying. I do tend to wear purple, which is often associated with nobility, and I carry myself well, but I'm not going to apologize for that. The fact that this album does seem to have something for everyone, and I find myself not only not relating to any of it, but almost incapable of remembering song to song, or even differentiating between them. I feel as though I'm being left behind as the world moves forward.
Yes, that's accurate. Don't be scared, friend. You're still a valuable part of our community, our world.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying at all.
Yeah, no, you're not going to like new music.
I find it harder and harder to relate to what is often referred to as pop culture.
Yes. You just need to do a deep dive back into the 70s and 80s, 90s, 60s, 50s, anytime but now. The 2000s even.
And just live in that?
Yeah.
What about you? Final thoughts?
Friends is a great song. The rest of it's garbage. As much as I love Friends, and I want to be clear, this is not an ironic enjoyment of Friends.
I don't think anyone's going to question your sincerity.
Okay.
You've mentioned it to the point where I kind of want to strike you.
The rest of this album is so banal. Even the song that's about a serial killer is boring.
All right, Tim, we're there. It's time to ask that all too important question. We've been through it. We've salted the rim. I'll ask it again. Do you hate this album?
I do.
Yeah, it's bad. I too hate this.
Yes, we did it. We got you there. I told you I was going to get you there. Garrett?
And I want to be really,
Did I get you there?
Do I have to say it?
You do.
Yes, Tim, you got me there. This has been Why I Hate This Album. I have been your host, Garrett Harvey.
I have been and continue to be Tim Richardson.
The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.